Most of us think about Alzheimer's as this terrible, unstoppable disease of memory. But what if one of its most common symptoms, those restless, sleepless nights, wasn't a symptom at all? What if it was actually a major cause? That's the wild, powerful idea we're going to dig into today.
Yeah, that one idea is changing, well, pretty much everything we thought we knew about protecting our brains. Welcome to Sleepedia, a little corner of the internet totally dedicated to the science of sleep and circadian rhythms. Today, we're exploring a huge breakthrough that connects the clock on your wall to the health of your mind.
So, for decades, the scientific community had a pretty settled view on this. When patients with Alzheimer's started wandering at night or getting super sleepy during the day, it was seen as just a sad, but expected, side effect of the damage already happening in their brain.
But now, there's been a complete 180 in the thinking here. New research is suggesting that a broken internal body clock, what scientists call circadian disruption, isn't just a result of the disease. It might actually be one of the main things pushing the disease forward. And if that's true, well, that changes the entire game for how we think about protecting our own brains.
So, if a broken clock is the problem, can fixing that clock be the solution? An amazing new line of research decided to test that exact idea using a strategy called time-restricted feeding, or TRF for short. The first big clues really came from this landmark study in 2023, published in a major journal called Cell Metabolism. Researchers over at UC San Diego set up this really clever experiment with mice that were genetically engineered to get Alzheimer's. They wanted to answer a pretty simple but profound question. Does when you eat matter more than what you eat? And the method was just incredibly simple. The mice were only allowed to eat their food within a strict 6-hour window every day. That's it. Everything else, what they ate, how much they ate, all stayed the same. And the results? They were just staggering. Not only did the mice show huge improvements in memory, but when they looked at their brains, they saw a real measurable reduction in those amyloid-beta plaques. The gunk that is the physical hallmark of Alzheimer's. This was huge. It suggested that just by changing the timing of meals, you could actually change the course of the disease. Of course, the million-dollar question is always, okay, that's great for mice, but does this actually work for people? And, a lot of the time the answer is no. But incredibly, early data coming out of human clinical trials, like the big one known as the TREAD trial, is pointing to a resounding yes. So let's look at what this means for us. Over just 4 months, patients who followed one of these time-restricted eating schedules showed real tangible benefits. We're talking improved executive function, that's your ability to plan and solve problems, and enhanced memory. It's really compelling proof that our bodies are just hardwired to listen for this fasting signal, that period of rest from digestion, to kickstart these deep cellular repair processes, even inside our brain. This all sounds almost too good to be true, right? I mean, how does simply changing your meal times trigger such a deep healing response in the brain? Let's break down the science, because it's actually pretty cool. I want you to think of your brain as having its own personal cleaning crew that comes in every night. It's called the glymphatic system, and its main job while you're sleeping is to flush out all the toxic junk and metabolic waste that builds up during the day. In Alzheimer's, this cleaning crew gets all out of sync. They stop showing up on time, and the trash starts to pile up. So here's the connection. When you limit your eating to a consistent window every day, you're not just giving your stomach a break. Food acts like a main sync signal for your entire body. By creating a predictable fasting period, you are basically sending out a massive synchronized lights out memo to every single cell, telling your brain's cleaning crew that their shift has officially started. It's time to get to work.
And this powerful signal works in three really key ways. First off, it reduces the chronic inflammation in the brain, which is a huge driver of neuron damage. Second, it boosts a process called autophagy. You can think of it like a cellular self-cleaning mode that helps clear out those toxic amyloid plaques. And finally, and this one is kind of mind-blowing, it actually helps regulate the genes involved in Alzheimer's. It basically encourages the brain to act younger and healthier, right down to the genetic level. The science is really, really compelling. But how would someone actually put this into practice? It's super important to approach this the right way and, most importantly, safely. Now, this is definitely not a one-size-fits-all solution. Anyone who is underweight or is managing diabetes with insulin or is in the very late stages of Alzheimer's absolutely has to talk to their doctor before making any changes. Safety is priority number one, always. But for most healthy adults, a gentle start is the best way to go. The 14-10 model is a fantastic entry point. All it means is you fast for 14 hours and you have a 10-hour window to eat. It could be as simple as finishing dinner by 7 p.m. and then having your first meal the next day around 9 a.m. Totally doable, right? And remember, you gotta be patient. The benefits build on each other over time. In the first couple of weeks, a lot of people just report sleeping better and feeling less brain fog. By the end of month 1, you start to see real improvements in metabolic markers and lower inflammation. But the research shows the real magic happens around months 3 to 4. That's the sweet spot, where those measurable gains in things like memory and focus really start to show up. So, where does a lifestyle approach like this fit in with all the modern drugs for Alzheimer's? I mean, is this supposed to replace medication? The research suggests it's not a replacement, but it might just be its most powerful partner. The key is that it works differently. While the drugs are designed to remove plaques that are already there, TRF works upstream. It helps fix the body's natural cleaning systems to prevent the plaques from forming in the first place. It's a proactive, whole-body approach that also happens to be free and accessible to pretty much everyone. And because of this, a lot of the leading researchers in this field now believe that lifestyle things, like TRF, shouldn't just be an afterthought. They should be the foundation upon which other treatments are built, creating a strong, resilient internal environment for long-term brain health. So, when we zoom all the way out, what's the single most important thing to take away from all this incredible new science? It really comes down to this: rhythm is everything. By giving your body clear, predictable signals through your meal timing, you are giving your brain the structure it is craving to do its most important jobs: to clean, to repair, and to preserve your precious memories.